Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to PCFI Gaming Studio interview. Today, we are being joined by amazing guest speakers all the way from Pangaea Kingdom. I hope I'm getting you guys' name correct. Pangaea Kingdom. Okay. We are being joined by amazing two co-founders, Shama and Matthew. So, Shama, good to have you on this session.
Yeah, good to be here. Good to be here. Thank you so much, Jude.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, man. So, my first question for you today, I know you guys are building something incredible at Pangai Kingdom, right? So I wanted to know what inspired you guys to create the Pangai Kingdom, and how does the game Mythologies reflect your vision for immersive storytelling?
So, Pangaea Kingdom, basically the word is a geographical name for when all of the lands on the earth were combined into one. So, by name, it means we're trying to create a game that represents, every race, every law, and every culture in the world. So it's like an ongoing project that we hope we never finish because it's helping us explore and understand people. Like I'm a big sociology buff myself, and Matthew is also like a very good gamer. So I like to study people. He likes to create games, and games are where people really express and play themselves. So it's kind of like a combination of that. So we're trying to, the game is inspired by, trying to unite the world, seeing what the world was like before all of this division came. Because as we're becoming a much more global village, we are understanding each other, even though, there's still some fracture there, but we're still progressing into that place of empathy. So we're trying to explore that and see how, even if we cannot, meet together physically, let Pangea be a place where virtually every culture, everybody has a space where they can like unite and they can explore. And for that, it has to be immersive because now we're not just attacking that, oh, okay, we just want to play games. There's going to be studies, there's going to be real life cultures, real life implications inside. Even down to all of the minorities that we have in Nigeria. I mean, personally, I think I have a law where my own personal law I had to talk to like people to understand what that culture was about. And then we're putting that inside. Um, and that's also going to happen for players because if you have something that you want to add to the game, let's say there's something, your culture, your language and everything, you could send it to us and then we could do that research and then we could add that. So you are now like co-creating with us. So it's basically trying to recreate the world virtually. And then of course there's now the gameplay where we have the power up so that it's not just that we are just living there. There are dungeons where you can go and find things. There are places where you go, just the way you go to the mountains and then you discover treasure. We're going to put all of that there and just keep making the game refreshing, keep growing this world the way Earth is growing for us.
Ah,
So yeah,
incredible,
that's
incredible.
basically it.
Yeah, incredible. I think what really shocked me from, what inspired you guys to start the Pangai Kingdom was when you talk about like you guys are trying to recreate the world digitally. And when I hear that those kind of statement, it reminds me metaverse, right? Metaverse is like everything that exists today in the world is existing in a virtual space, right? And if you also look at where the world is moving digital, right? So everything is becoming digital. And I'm so inspired that you guys are seeing this vision and trying to build the game in this line. So I'm looking forward to what you guys build at Pangaea Kingdom, right? So my second question for you today has to do with, how does the Pangaea Kingdom, integrate African, right, and global mythologies into its game, okay? And why is this cultural blend significant to your vision?
So according to Pangea, that's geography and all.
Yeah.
Africa is sort of like the center. If you arrange all of the lands, Antarctica, North America, Europe, and everything, Africa is sort of at the center. And that is why Africa is the cradle of civilization. It's anthropological, it's geography, it's all of those, all those high research and there. So definitely, if we by when we follow the archaeological and the anthropological trend back to the origin, we discovered okay, Australopithecus africanus found in Kenya, the oldest bones of man. That's probably where visualization starts. So that is where we are starting from. And of course, that means the oldest societies are in Africa, which means, most of the things that you find and everything. Yeah, according to the research that we've got to, so you see a lot of African myths are a lot more, let's say, a lot more prehistoric than other places. So though right now what we have details of all of the Orishas, the Anansi and all of that, but when you go back, even back to the writing systems, like we came across like this wonderful resource that had like several writing systems from CBD down to the Bantu writing system that all the Zulus and those Swahili guys shared. And it was just like blowing our minds, like, because it was like a new inspiration for a design. Like that just even like created like a completely different land for us to actually even explore. Well, yes, we even develop that again. So like just exploring African myth is even keep carving out the work for us. Like the roadmap has just been road mapping because each writing comes with new mythology, comes with a new culture. Sometimes we have placeholders where we just keep and say, okay, when we find out the truth, we go that. And it's taking us places. We cannot even really wait for when, I can't really wait for when I'm going to like really travel and want to like see these places physically so that we could have much better representations of this because it's just the fact that what are doing Africa really excites us basically. And it's really significant because not a lot of African stories are there. Not a lot of people are, if they are researching Africa, you find that they are sort of like researching it based on how they want to kind of like appear to the West. But for us, we're trying to research it as, okay, look at the stories from our own perspective. Because I am like a lost African child looking for the truth. So that's kind of spirit that we're trying to bring into Nigeria so that Africans can also be seen and people can also see Africa as Africa is rather than an Africa that is trying to pander. And then, we could actually now connect equally as equal people. So yeah.
Yeah, incredible, man, incredible. It's so amazing what you guys are building here, right? I also love the fact that you guys are trying to because most of what when you look at the global space, people see Africa as one of the poorest countries in the world. They have all the negative vibes about Africa. I'm also glad that we're also trying to tell people about the good part of our culture and about how good Africa is, through games and other stuff we do. As I believe things like this can actually put Africa at the global stage, so people can have different perspective and idea of that Africa is not what they release on the media, right? The legacy media and how they talk about Africa is something else, right? I'm happy that we are also coming to tell the story using games and all of that, right? So what role, I know you have said all beautiful things about what you guys do, right? So I wanted to know the role that blockchain and NFT. So what role do blockchain technology and NFT play, in improving the player's experience and supporting the in-game economy in the Pangaea Kingdom?
So basically, I think ownership and transparency is one of the things why we're even choosing blockchain to work with blockchain and all of that. Because one of the things actually, what really made me really get into this was when NFT technology was created. People were flipping NFTs and they were busy earning money. But what I saw was the ability to own something digitally. So because if you have, let's say, if in the game now you can create like a weapon because of course you're creating it with us, so you can just even you can create things in real life. Let's say you're like a smith in the game and you create a weapon. You can make it an NFT, stamp your code on it, and wherever that goes on the blockchain, it is yours. I envision a world where wherever anybody even uses or rents that and maybe they pay money, you can get a percentage of that. So for your digital art that is functional within our world, you are earning something. And that is like true ownership, kind of like in life and kind of like how it is in real life. And the transparency, you can see all of the transactions. We cannot cheat you because currently now with platform capitalism and well, I don't want to call this, but what we have been seeing across social media space, there is this lack of transparency with people's data. But we intend to now use blockchain. So you can see a record of everything that you have and where it has gone, who it has been with, and you can demand, everything comes to you. There is nothing hidden there. So that's one of the things that we see. That is something that even you don't really get in the real life. And with that NFT technology, I saw like my players being able to own real virtual real estate there,
Yeah.
and all of that, real creation and all of that. And with that ownership, the emotional and financial value of those things can be increased. We can also kind of like work on that and that. So yeah, that's economic transparency basically. It's
Yeah.
why we're even really working with blockchain mainly.
Yeah. Incredible. Incredible. Yeah. So I'm happy that you guys also trying to integrate the blockchain, into your gaming ecosystem, right? So whereby you give power to the people because that is mostly what blockchain is all about, okay? People have to control their games. They take ownership of the game, right? They also take ownership of the asset on the platform. So you also have some data transparency. So this is incredible, right? Because with blockchain, it can do a lot of many stuff. And I'm happy that you guys are thinking in this direction, to see how you can leverage the blockchain and NFT for transparency, in your in-game economy and making sure that you don't that people's database are not being breached, right? But rather they're taking ownership of the database, right? And they can decide to monetize it, right? And you also see the concept of NFT, whereby most of the games, the gamers can be represented in NFT, okay? You also talk about somebody owning a virtual real estate, and NFT are representing a physical real estate, right? You just buy it to mean that the property and the real estate is yours, but it's being represented in NFT. So these are some incredible stuff, that can also be implemented into the Web3 gaming ecosystem, right? So glad, you guys are embracing these powerful technologies, to revolutionize your game, right? So the next question I have for you, right, is I wanted to know what are your thoughts about the concept of community building in Web3 gaming, right? And what strategies are you using to build a strong and player-driven ecosystem? I know the concept of community building can sound so somebody that have a Web2 games and all of that, they don't really embrace the concept of community building, right? But when you talk about Web3 and co, man, community building is number one, right? Because every project have a community. They build a community whereby the users can understand more about the product and what the project is all about, right? So I wanted to know how you guys are thinking in line. What concept do you have about community building, and what strategies are you trying to implement, to build a stronger community?
Um, the decentralized nature of blockchain just begs you to make community. Like, you cannot really, push things without a community. So for us, community is very, very important, which is why we're even like allowing a lot of people to incorporate a lot of ideas, because this idea has changed from, with things I've heard. So we have a Discord where we collect a lot of ideas. And we're always in conversations with these people as much as we can. I'm a professional yapper, so once I start talking, nobody can outtalk me. I'm always down to talk when people are talking. So we are collecting notes, we're collecting several ideas. I think it was actually, even the African writing system itself, it was someone that actually even mentioned it that what if we include other writing systems? And then we started researching that. Because I think we would have probably discovered that maybe much later, but because of community building, we are that. So it came from our Discord. I'm also trying to leverage Twitter, and because I am also a digital marketer, so yeah, I try to leverage Twitter. And that has also earned us. I think Twitter is where a lot of artists, most of those people that get commissions for artists are. So we're able to meet with one or two people who are in our community who have given us ideas for how we could take this direction, all of that. And in our communities, we also reward that, so like all these names, we're taking it down, all of those people that really contributed. When it's time for us to, step into the whole concept of airdrops and all that marketing, we have those people there. And we're really grateful for the people who have shaped, us. So yeah, constant interaction. And then one of the things I try to champion that I'm very bullish on, sorry to use that term because I really want to talk to people, is physical activation. So I whenever I get into a space, wherever we are talking about crypto physically, I am out there. I'm with my pitch deck on my phone, like, oh, Pangaea and everything. Whenever somebody's out there arguing that, oh, NFTs are useless, I'm like, no, you guys are not implementing it well. It's not technology for you guys to flip. It has to be based on something. I'm always there. And so that has actually reined us in some real loyal people because, after you argue with somebody and you win, there's like this kind of bond that, okay, you guys are partners or something. So those are the things. Those are the things. So, like, to be honest, there really is no part. There's a strategy we are using, the official strategy of digital marketing and all of that, of gathering communities online and funding them rewards. But I also try to encourage myself and Matthew to just go out there and be like those people that have speakers in the market and we're talking about this thing. Like that's one of the things I realized that a lot of Nigerians really respond to. Like the loudest voice. We are always loud about this physically. Like if this call runs for like the next 1 hour now like this, I will not stop talking about this thing because
Well,
talk about it almost every day. So
yeah.
yeah, that's how we're building our community. We are very aggressive, honestly.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I love those concepts and strategies, right? So it's good to have a vibrant community, right? Build a strong community. You run some Discord, AMA space, right? You give some reward. You do Twitter space and all of that. But I think the one of the things that you said that struck me, is you don't have to take away one of the strategies of physical activation, right? So at a point, it's very important that there's a community, you host some meetup, physical meetup, right, whereby people come together, interact. I mean, people get to see each other one-on-one for the first time. So those kind of experiences, I don't think there is anything that is second to it, right? It's actually incomparable, if you ask me, right? So I mean, I love that part. Most even when we consult for some companies, sometimes that's why I see some company from US and so many other parts of the world, they try to do a meetup across different continents because they feel like sometimes physical events add more values and they have more impact in it than sometimes virtual events and all of that. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. So the other question I have for you, which is very, very important for me, and I think it's also important for you as well as a company, right? So what challenges do you have in building the Pangaea Kingdom, right? That's number one. Then the second part of it is what have been your biggest compliance or orders? Have you faced any law problem? Have you broken any law? What is your compliance challenges like? And what has also been the biggest challenge that you guys have faced in building this company or building this game?
So, I think most of this, I think, is tied to most of the challenges. Only the challenges I'm calling next time is going to be tied to like education and infrastructure basically because I'm a very optimistic person. I believe if we have infrastructure and education, that will solve half of our problems. Because that will also help us get the kind of funding that we need. That funding is very important because I see Matthew doing his day job and struggling to pay some of the artists and some of the marketing. He also needs to transport me sometimes because yeah, because and all of that. So of course, we need better infrastructure. And I hope that will come. I think the advent of Starlink has been really, I didn't know how, like I see a lot of things that Starlink will do because I think one of the plans that we even had was probably we just get like Starlink and then at our base office, able to have, even if it's our beta players and all of that, using that. So internet penetration, of course. Education, like I think I've mentioned before that I'm always explaining blockchain technology. Like even because I also do community management for I think RiseVest, an investment company. And crypto is speculative, but in my community, I'm always talking about crypto. I'm always educating them, like, oh, okay, forget cryptocurrency, come to blockchain technology. And then I spend like 10 minutes telling them about how that can be the future of the economy. So there's that education that we need. And most of the time, I find myself focusing on all those young 16, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, just telling them about these things because they are the guys that have like the mental capacity and probably when we're looking at the future, when we're doing our 5-year, 10-year plan, by then these guys are 27 and they are the ones that we actually want to be talking to. So me personally, I'm focusing on that education there because I consider myself that if I'm thinking of the problem, let me also try to be solving it. Big issue has been Now there's kind of like a gag on cryptocurrency. Anybody, oh, I'm sorry, call it cryptocurrency, on cryptocurrency, and then in respect, it stretches to blockchain. People who, especially when it comes to our transactions and how we interact with our exchanges, and basically just being inside that space because it has been banned before. A lot of people are always hiding when they are doing it. And we feel persecuted somewhat. We are not persecuted per se, but there's just this general air of this thing, don't touch it too much so that they will not know you are touching it and then you come out to inside this thing. So yeah, then of course, yeah. So what stakeholders can help us do? To be honest, I would like to start from the institutional level because that is the power that we don't have. We are just two young men. So stakeholders can help us meet these institutional guys and say, blockchain is not bad. Okay, maybe they are scamming people with cryptocurrency, fine. But that blockchain technology is good because I see blockchain technology being very, very useful for the government, especially when it comes to land disputes. Recently, they are taking lands here in Abuja. But if your land was actually if we had included blockchain technology in our land usage rights like this, you don't, it's not just paper now, it's already there. Nobody can come and change it, it's immutable. Nobody can just come and overhaul it again. There's going to be steps. We already probably have like some sort of rubric, like all programmers have with that. So institutional stakeholders can help us with institutional movements. And then of course, some funding will not help because that's actually our actually immediate problem to get some
Yeah.
funding. And there are some things that they are probably maybe we're able to even move offices to a place where we are not persecuted, and then it just moves fast and all of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. I think I saw Matthew Mike a couple of minutes ago. Nevertheless, yeah, I think one of the two things that you said that struck me, is that one of your biggest challenges has been, building your gaming ecosystem has been funding, right? Which I sometimes I feel like anytime I interview a lot of founders across the continent, that has also been one of the biggest challenge, right? So I also love the second part, one of your compliance issues has been that is the kind of issue that has to do with, um, regulation uncertainties, right? There's not really a clear regulation uncertainties now when it comes to the Web3, the blockchain, and the gaming ecosystem, both in Nigeria and in Africa entirely. So I'm hoping that that the government is listening to us on this interview, and I'm hoping that in a couple of years to come, we'll have a kind of um, regulatory, clarity when it comes to gaming. And I believe that will also solve a lot of problem for us when we have a clear compliance, right? That will help us to see how we can build for everybody. When you're also building, you're not afraid because you know the rules. You can build within the government rules and regulation, right? So I'm very, very optimistic that we'll have a very clear picture when it comes to regulations, in time to come, right? And this is also where PISA comes in as well. When it comes to beyond doing business in Africa, right? PISA also provide a kind of, global international regulation compliance. We help company at the global level, right? That are looking for compliance, that's facing compliance, challenges or clarities, right? So we as a company will provide those services for you, and we help you to integrate your services and you can actually operate globally and also stay compliant, right? When you hear about some blockchain like MiCA rules, those are some of the rules that, PaySapphire leverage, to help our clients to stay compliant while you operate your company at the global and the continental level, right? So my last question for you is, how do you see the Web3 gaming future in Africa? So in the next 5 to 10 years, how do you perceive that the gaming ecosystem in Web3 is going to look like?
so for Africa, a lot of engagements. In fact, it has already happened. The amount of people involved in that know about blockchain technology from 2020 till now 2024 is insane. And what makes me very happy is that these guys are young people who are still going to grow and get better. They are not burdened by children and other vicissitudes of life. So they have time to explore this thing. So I see that it's actually going to become, it's going to, it doesn't even, it's going to become very mainstream. In the next 10 years, the way it will look in the next 10 years, like it's going to look very mainstream, but trust me, we will not have gotten to that level yet because you now still have 16 to 17-year-olds who are now learning about blockchain. So it's an industry that is a seed right now and is going to blow up in the next 2 decades. I believe it's going to become as rampant as what you have like the way Facebook grew up here. Because when it comes to adoption in Africa, we can adopt things fast. Look at the growth of Facebook from 2009 to 2015 and what it did for our industry. A caveat, in the literary industry, Facebook was very, very good because it helped all of us writers connect and helped us organize workshops and helped us learn. 10 years down the line, a lot of them are now like studying, they've gone to do their masters, and everybody's like, oh, African literature is happening. But you know where that started? It started from the infrastructure that Facebook brought. So Web3 gaming coming as an infrastructure for all of these economies to happen, for all of these ideas, for people to actually connect. Because at the end of the day, it is the people. And in Africa, we have a lot of people. So it's basically untapped. It would address stuff like economic disparities because now people can now earn and manage and find jobs outside of state actors, which they seem to like, let's not get into that. But pre-gaming also offers, especially the Pangaea, what we're trying to do, it also offers the ability to showcase like Africa's rich history and creativity. Because since this gaming now is now sort of like tied directly to our economy and we can earn from it, it will create more enterprise. We can create more games. And we also hope that, we can become a franchise that other people can even come and like take just the idea that we have and create what they have ourselves. Because that's how blockchain has grown. It has always been open source.
Yeah.
So something that's instead of trying to keep patents, open source can also help us grow. And yeah, I think Africa can actually become a hub for decentralized gaming. Because to be honest, it addresses our problems more than it addresses problems any other part of the world. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I mean, I'm happy that you're very, very optimistic about the gaming ecosystem in Africa in the next few decades of years to come. I'm also optimistic as well, right? I'm based here and I cannot see the body language and the movement. So I'm very, very optimistic. So in 1 minute, do you have a social media that you like people to learn about you and also learn about your company? Can you tell us the social media you have? Anyone?
So Pangaea Kingdom on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, just Pangaea Kingdom on Twitter. I think that's the one that they can follow. And then we have a Discord. I think the Discord um
It's also on the
Discord
Twitter
account.
page.
This Discord link is on the Twitter page. So just regular Pangaea Kingdom there.
What about your own
And
personal page?
so I am Shanigami.
Okay, on Twitter.
SHAA, yeah, on Twitter, Shanigami, SHAANIGAMI. That's who I am. And then he is compiler. That's compiler 47. There's a way he spelled it that is just weird. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm not a programmer, right?
thank you. So,
So yeah, yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. If you want to get more information, do well to follow us on Twitter and on LinkedIn at Peace How High, right? And you can get to learn more about what we do. And you can also reach out to us if you want to partner and collaborate with us. On this note, thank you for joining us today. And we hope that you enjoyed this session. Thank you.